Hill Street Blues is one of the most popular television series of the 80s, famous for its realistic, emotional style and profound approach to police life and complex social issues. Broadcast from 1981 to 1987, the film not only brought dramatic details surrounding the cases, but also clearly portrayed the inner life full of pressure and suffering of police officers in the Hill Street area. With its groundbreaking storytelling, Hill Street Blues received a series of prestigious awards, and the actors in the film became icons of crime dramas. But behind the glory are tragic stories about the lives and deaths of the actors. 1. Daniel J. Travanti, Captain Frank Furillo, The Quiet Life After the Peak. Daniel J. Travanti, who plays Captain Frank Furillo in Hill Street Blues, is not only the soul of the film but also the face that brings inner strength and respectable leadership. His role helped shape the image of a talented, calm police chief, but always faced with difficult decisions in a stressful and pressured environment. His character Frank Furillo won over audiences and became an icon in the 80s. However, after Hill Street Blues ended, Travanti could no longer find a truly suitable role to continue to shine like before. Although he appeared in a number of television series and film projects afterward, his career never regained the heights he had achieved. His career faded away in silence, and Travanti chose to live a reclusive lifestyle, away from the bustle of Hollywood. The last years of Travanti's life were a series of lonely and quiet days in a small house in the suburbs, where he lived in private, with little communication with the outside world. He died in 2022, at the age of 82, quietly and without anyone knowing. The passing of Daniel J. Travanti not only leaves loyal fans with regret, but also evokes the image of a star who was once brilliant but faded away in loneliness, a quiet tragedy that the world entertainment many times witnessed. 2. Michael Conrad, Sergeant Phil Esterhaus, The Evil Disease. Michael Conrad, in the role of Sergeant Phil Esterhaus, portrayed the image of an experienced, dedicated police officer who always works with an unwavering sense of responsibility. His character is someone who always gives reasonable, gentle but meaningful advice and is loved by many fans. However, Conrad had to face a fierce battle in real life when he was diagnosed with cancer while filming. Even though he was facing a terrible illness, Conrad still stubbornly devoted himself to the role until the very end, before his health failed and forced him to stop. He passed away in 1983 when Hill Street Blues is still in production, causing the film crew to change the script to honor the character of Sergeant Phil Esterhaus. The passing of Michael Conrad at the age of 58 is a great loss not only for the Hill Street Blues, but also for American television. He devoted himself to the role, and losing someone as talented as him while still at the peak of his career is an unbearable pain for fans. 3. Veronica Hamel, Joyce Davenport, Unexpected Health Events. Veronica Hamel, who plays Joyce Davenport, a talented and strong lawyer, has become a symbol of female independence and power in the legal world. Besides being Captain Furillo's lover, Hamel's character is a woman with a brilliant career who always fights for what is right and never gives in to difficulties. Hamel's outstanding performance in this role helped her become one of the most prominent faces of the film industry, Hill Street Blues. After the movie ended, Hamel continued his acting career, with impressive roles in other television projects. However, in 2019, she suddenly suffered a stroke, causing her health to seriously decline. Despite timely emergency treatment, Hamel's life was never the same again. She passed away in 2020, at the age of 76, leaving behind endless grief for those who loved her and the legendary Joyce Davenport character she brought to audiences. Hamel's passing is not only the loss of a talent, but also a symbol of the fragility of life. Fans still remember the image of a strong, sharp lawyer on screen, but cannot forget the pain she had to go through in the last years of her life. 4. Bruce Weitz, Sergeant McBelker, Loneliness in Old Age. Bruce Weitz, as Sergeant McBelker in Hill Street Blues, made his mark with the image of a different police officer, quirky, violent, but full of compassion. The character Belker, with his rude behavior but emotional soul, made the audience unable to help but love him. Weitz is considered one of the film's best actors, and the role earned him praise and critical recognition. Despite a long and successful acting career, Weitz's personal life was in the dark. The pressures from work and fame gradually disappeared as he grew older, causing him to struggle with depression and loneliness. Weitz lived in seclusion during the last years of his life, rarely appearing in public. He passed away in 2021 at the age of 79 in solitude, leaving many fans shocked and regretful for a talent who once shone brightly but ultimately passed away quietly. Weitz's story is a heartbreaking reminder of the difficult lives for many artists after the spotlight fades. 5. Barbara Bosson, Faye Furillo. Sudden death in sleep. Barbara Bosson, who plays Faye Furillo, Captain Frank Furillo's ex-wife, delivered a performance full of depth and emotion. Her character is a woman full of contradictions, both angry and still in love with her ex-husband, making the audience both sad and angry. Bosson's role not only helps increase tension in the relationship between the main characters, but also gives the film a deeper human tone. Although Barbara Bosson's life and career seemed peaceful, her death caused a huge shock to fans. In 2023, she died in her sleep at the age of 83, passing away gently and without warning signs. Bosson's sudden passing shocked not only her family, but also those who loved her character. Hill Street Blues feel pain. Although her death was not as dramatic as many other actors, it was a sudden and regretful end for a star who had conquered the hearts of audiences for decades.
6. Joe Spano, Lieutenant Henry Goldblum, died due to car accident. Joe Spano, as Lieutenant Henry Goldblum, portrayed an honest police officer, full of justice and always fighting for justice. Spano's character is one of the elements that brings balance to the film, with frankness, reason, but also emotion in each situation facing crime and life. However, Spano's life ended suddenly in a tragic traffic accident in 2018. When he was returning home from a meeting with friends, Spano's car was hit by a large truck, crashed, seriously injuring him. Although he was taken to the emergency room immediately, his injuries were so severe that he took his life just a few hours later. He passed away at the age of 72, leaving deep sorrow for his family, colleagues, and those who loved the character Lieutenant Goldblum that he vividly embodied. Spano's tragic passing is a painful reminder of the dangers of life, and that death can strike at any time. No one can foresee it. 7. Rene Enriquez, Lieutenant Ray Cayetano, The Resolute Fight Against Liver Cancer. Rene Enriquez, who plays Lieutenant Ray Cayetano, a serious and dedicated man to his job, faced one of life's biggest challenges in real life, liver cancer. Illness began to beset him in the final years of his career, but Enriquez never gave up his passion for acting. He fought this terrible disease for many years, still acting until the last months of his life. Despite his visibly weakened health, he always maintained an optimistic spirit, never letting illness defeat his resilience and love for art. However, in 1990, at the age of 56, Rene Enriquez could no longer fight the deadly disease. His death came like a cold wind in the hearts of fans, making people clearly feel the fragility of life. Enriquez's passing is not only a great loss for his family and friends, but also a painful mark for the American film industry, when an outstanding talent had to leave too soon. 8. Charles Hayde, Officer Andy Renko. A sudden stroke takes away a talent. Charles Hayde, who plays police officer Andy Renko, a strong character, full of personality with a somewhat straightforward style, always makes viewers feel both excited and tense with his confrontations on screen. With his excellent performance, Hayde not only left a mark in the hearts of the audience, but also became a symbol of the type of American police officer who is both tough and brave. However, his real life suffered a traumatic event. In 2022, while participating in a charity event to support war victims, Charles Hayde suddenly suffered a stroke right on stage. Even though he was taken to the emergency room immediately, his body could no longer withstand this great shock. He passed away in pain and surprise to many people, leaving behind grief for his entire family and those who loved him throughout his career. At the age of 79, Charles Hayde has passed away, but the image of his strong police officer still lives forever in the hearts of fans. 9. Taurean Blacque, Detective Neil Washington. Death from infection is rare. Taurean Blacque, the talented actor who plays Detective Neil Washington, a character with a cold but profound appearance, has conquered the audience with his honest and sophisticated acting talent. He had a long and successful career, but Blacque's final years were in the shadow of a rare infection. Although he received the best care from top doctors, his health gradually weakened and could not be recovered. In 2022, at the age of 82, Taurean Blacque passed away, leaving behind endless grief for his family, colleagues, and audiences. His death is another testament to the cruelty of fate when a great talent had to face a heartbreaking end due to a cruel disease. 10. Ed Marinaro, Officer Joe Coffey. Fateful accident on mountaintop. Ed Marinaro, who plays police officer Joe Coffey, a character full of dignity and loyalty, has won much love from the audience through the films of Hill Street Blues. In addition to his acting career, Marinaro is also a passionate mountaineer. Challenging adventures on mountaintops are his way to relax and find peace in life. But fate did not allow him to continue pursuing that passion. In 2021, during a seemingly normal mountain climbing trip, Marinaro had a serious accident. He slipped and fell into the abyss. Although the rescue team quickly arrived and took him to the hospital, his injuries were too severe and took his life. Ed Marinaro passed away at the age of 71, leaving deep sorrow for his family and those who loved his talent. This tragic accident ended an illustrious and passionate life, leaving fans with eternal regret. Hill Street Blues is not only an excellent television work, but also a light that illuminates the careers of many talented actors. Although they delivered brilliant performances on the small screen, their subsequent lives experienced many sad and painful notes. These losses are not only a personal tragedy for each actor, but also a reminder of the fragility of life and the harsh fate of stars who once shone at the peak of glory.